Gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order dated 3/12/24. It is now 6 p.m. Roll call.
Robin Kissing.
Julie Saul.
Michael will not be here today. And anybody heard from Mr. Moore?
No.
Yeah. Check and make sure.
But you still do that. Still have quorum. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I make motion that we approve the agenda as is.
Yep, I'm second.
All in favor? Approval of previous minutes.
I have a question. On number C, Wildfire Preparedness Day. It looks like there's some information missing from here about the discussion of them asking for funds and us asking for some kind of an estimate.
Okay.
I think that should be captured in the minutes.
Yeah, let's just make a motion for the minutes after they've been amended the state. Right, is that how you do that?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes with the amended statement.
Second. All in favor? Next item is public comments. Can barely hear you. Can you turn the mic volume? Sorry. I'll get closer to the mic.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me better?
Maybe a little bit better. It's still not very loud.
Almost all the way up on this one.
What about now?
Yeah, maybe that's better.
Oh, okay.
Voice says you can hear fine. So.
Okay, public comments. Going once, going twice. Okay. Got a presentation from Table to Farm Compost.
Well, thank you all very much for, hope they can hear me out there, but, for letting me, present today and coming back. I was here back in, I want to say, April of last year, somewhere along those lines. And we've actually changed our ask, and even, are you Guy? Yeah. Okay, Guy, hi. From what I emailed you. We thought we'd keep it even more simple, and we provide a curbside residential service. And we would like to ask if we can come every other week. So it wouldn't be every week, every other week, and we would drive around to any of the paying customers who are willing to pay for us. It would be $18 a month for every other week service. And we just would empty their buckets and move on. And that's pretty much it. It's as simple as that. So the survey results, which I know you've had in your packet, I know it was a small turnout from your 800 to 834. And part of the problem is that I wasn't able to access your email list. That is a question having a problem with this. So we had to end up doing a snail mail mailer. And we know, right, we all know, it was just go right in the garbage. So at least we were able to get 27 people to respond. We got 26, all of them said yes. And our hope is that it can spread. You know, once people, if you say yes, we can put buckets out, people start to see that, talk to their neighbors, so on and so forth, and that they would hopefully gain our trust in our services. And I guess my question would be if I can pay you guys to forward the service email, just saying, hey, this is now, if you say yes, that would be my ask. So I don't want to put a kiosk or tote in your transfer station. That was originally our just we decided to go against that. We know that most people don't want drop off. They would much rather have people come to their house. It's a lot easier. We give them a 5-gallon bucket with a secured lid. There shouldn't be any animal problems because they only put it out that morning and we come within a few hours after they put it out, so it's not. I know you were just talking about scoops and everything else and bears. You know, we do this in Durango, we actually do Gosa, so we're pretty, you know, it's a pretty set service. I don't know, it remains to be seen, hopefully that wouldn't be. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what we'd love to do. And as I mentioned to Guy, this all came about because I had 3 different Bayfield residents or FLMD residents come to me at the farmer's market in Durango asking for our services. So we're just trying to respond to the requests from your residents, offer something that we think would be great, you know, keep food out of our landfill, let us process it. They get compost back as a customer. They get 3 5-gallon buckets worth of compost back, finished compost. They can purchase more at a discount. So we're just trying to close that food loop, reduce the burden. We have about 5 to 8 years on our Bondad landfill. And I imagine that's where this all goes, right? Your transfer station? Just go to Bondad?
Yeah, it goes from on that.
Yeah.
Bondad.
Thank you. So up to 35% of household waste stream is food. So if we can start reducing that impact on Bondad, it's gonna spread as far as saving us money in the long run to either add cells to Bondad or build a new one. A cell is on 1.5 million. New landfill is over 5 to 8 million, and that's even questionable if they can do that.
Well,
Yes, sir.
I don't want to cut you short here.
No, no, no. Sorry.
I am all for curbside service. That,
Yeah, I have a question on the 5-gallon buckets. Are they the ones with lids?
They are secured.
And you haven't seen any issues in Pagosa, Durango?
Biggest issue is trash trucks rolling over them, which is not a problem here, or them getting stolen. To be quite frankly, people steal them from other neighbors.
Okay.
That's not really your issue. It's just us replacing them.
So I think,
Yes.
this organization using the trash center is one thing. If they're just doing it curbside service, then it's gonna basically act like Amazon, UPS.
Isn't it like a
So,
newspaper?
yeah, so we would not be involved in it.
Right.
It's not on our right of way, it's on private property. If we find them in our right of way, we're probably gonna collect them and give, or try to find where it belongs, the bucket. Hopefully they don't get hit by our plows. Other than that, it's not.
and, how much, would it cost us anything to put a little thing on our bill saying, hey, you know, the services is being offered by,
It doesn't cost us anything to put it on the water bill. If you'd like us to do that, we're gonna put for the April one, we're putting the fire mitigation thing. We can have next available.
just to
Just
help.
put that it's available.
That would be phenomenal. That would be.
We don't have an email.
Oh, there's no email list?
We do have an email list, but we don't have permission from anyone to share their contact.
Well, I don't want to share it.
Well, but we,
Yeah,
and then
just share
we
it.
make
For
sure.
us to share. For us.
Send an email before. That's what I'm gonna get you ways and stuff.
Well, I mean, we could do that in blind copy everybody, so then when the email says private.
And
Literally.
So, I mean, that's another
Literally
thing
that.
we could do, or a little blurb on the
When we do,
bill.
we can do the blurb on the bill. And I think that-
Let's do that.
that's something.
let's do that.
All right, not email.
And
All right.
as our email list does, it costs to send the outbound messaging with the current system. Now, when we go live with the new website, not so much, but right now it does cost. I think the blurb on the bill would be,
Our best bang.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And,
That's great. Anything's
real quick,
great.
what's,
Yeah,
Sure.
Should I send you a blurb?
what's the cost of it again?
18 a month
18 a month?
for every other week. Most people don't generate enough for a weekly anyway. So.
No, it's a service you're providing.
Right,
We have nothing to do with that.
right, yeah.
So as long as we're
Yeah.
not involved.
And is there-
Oh, I'm
is there
asking about
something-
interest in myself.
Yeah, there you go, right?
Is there something given to whoever's going to be participating? You know, the rules and regs of what you.
Oh, yeah.
Where to put it? like at snow time, I mean, that could be a big deal, so they're gonna have to make sure they put it way back on their property.
So it could be that, I don't know how it's also, usually it's the end of their driveway, so our driver can just pull up. You know,
So,
Yeah, because you don't want
We don't
to
want
navigate
to-
some of these driveways.
no, we don't go in driveways, we have a trailer, right? I mean, we try and keep it super.
Yeah, I'm
so
just
that's
talking
what we
about
call-
for snow removal, cause that's, you know,
Yeah.
a good amount of months throughout the year,
Right,
so.
right, and a lot of people will stick them on top of the mound. So our driver can see it.
so I
Okay.
spoke to Edgemont about this, and they said their only issue is that sometimes gets hit by the front rows.
You just got way more snow.
But other than that, it's just like we're talking about, it's Amazon or
Yeah, it's not big.
a truck that's doing delivery, that's using public roads that.
Some of those delivery places will bring it up to your porch or
Yeah.
something. Whereas it sounds like they
Just
do not.
need guidance or?
We have direction from the board, if I'm hearing it right, we'll put a.
This is
board
a
in
service that we're not,
Correct.
Right.
really has nothing to do with us. We'll mention that it's a service
Put it in our water
available,
bill.
and that's it.
Do a little blurb on the water bill.
Yep, we'll get that out.
Advertise.
Do you need me to send you that blurb?
Yeah, and we'll get like 25 characters or something.
About 30, I would say, probably. Is all,
Characters?
yeah.
Pretty much just our. Pretty much we're available if you want us or something.
Are now available in four lakes.
About 30 words.
So I just have a quick
Characters.
question. If it became a problem with animals, would you discontinue the service?
If there's enough complaints, for sure.
Okay.
We'll do whatever you guys want.
Yeah.
We don't.
As long as it's flexible, you know, for.
Yeah.
If something starts to,
Yeah.
cause up above, you know, there's a lot of animals that
Sure.
are roaming around, so.
Yeah, and the only thing I can see of is if we empty the bucket at like, say, 11 in the morning or whatever, and they're not home till 5, that bucket might be empty and smelly. You know, not every little piece comes out, you know, and animals might be snooping. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
That might,
Well, it's really no different than someone forgetting to pick their trash bag up and put it in the container outside their house.
Yeah, no, I just wanna cover all bases.
well, and I can tailor our service. Service. Is very concerned about outlining some of that, so.
Yeah.
we stuff with it.
Yeah.
I can't take care of every person.
Right.
But yes, we don't wanna cause a problem, and if it becomes a problem, sure. And maybe we reconsider the whole tote. Most people don't want those.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Anything from the audience?
I'm good. That was a lot.
Me? Hi,
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is Bonnie Salona, 1472 Pine Valley. I actually put a note in there, but I didn't know whether you got into it or not. I just have a suggestion for the. Yeah, I just have a
I
suggestion.
read it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's, I put in the note, I suggested all the rigmarole about the pave versus the gravel versus the dirt that we go through all the time, especially with new people. It would be a good idea perhaps to bring a professional from each, like a professional company representative from each, like for a gravel company and for a pavement, whatever, asphalt company, to come in and discuss everything. Because it just keeps bouncing back and forth about, oh, how much better a pavement is. They don't know how much it costs. So if they had somebody from pavement company come in and say, this is how much we charge to pave the roads. This is how much we charge to fill the holes, the potholes in the roads. And then a gravel company, this is what we would charge. And this is what we charge for adding gravel or filling in the way it is now.
Okay, we'll look into
Just my
that.
suggestion.
We'll look into it. Does anyone have any comments regarding the table to farm presentation?
I came in too late for that.
No, I got you. You're good, Bonnie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Okay, No further comments on table to farm. Let's move on to committee updates. Julie, budget, anything?
I have nothing for the budget.
Recreation?
Recreation, there was a question regarding, are we going to put fish in the pond this year?
It didn't get budgeted, we haven't looked at it, but I think there's still time. And
Getting close to time.
I'm sorry,
It is getting close to
Close
the
to time.
time.
how much do they cost? They're
I
like
don't
over 15,000.
know.
Sean can tell you.
Last year, I think it was like, it's per fish, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was
Well, here-
pretty expensive.
It was.
Here's the problem with stocking the lake right now. Are we gonna be wasting all that money if we have to turn around and drain it?
Right now, I can't tell you.
So at this time, it doesn't sound like we'll be filling the lake with fish this year. Based upon still having issues with the dam, and hoping to address that this year. So maybe next year we can.
I'm hesitant to think the dam's gonna be done this year. I think it's gonna be done next year. Part of it is the state of Colorado has like 160-day, 120-day comment
Okay.
period, which they take. So even if we got something right now, we wouldn't get a first review done for months.
So maybe a couple years before we can start stocking again.
Yeah, but
Maybe
we're
by then
really
we'll-
shooting for
Yeah,
next
yeah.
year to try to get. The question is do we have to fully drain? Can we put some sort of internal dam system? That's what we're looking at.
Plus with our, low snow season, we may end up having that lake down to nothing again this year.
Yeah.
So,
And have we heard anything about the possibility of using the rec center for like meetings and the stuff in the, have you had a chance to learn anything more yet?
So I reread that report. You're looking about $100,000 if we could do that fully. At the very least, you're gonna have to put new windows in there, probably some sort of security system. Clean it up. You have to get a bunch of stuff out there. So you're looking at
There's a bunch of concrete work that needs to be happening too to make it.
on the outside, yeah. I mean, there's
ADA
the
compliant.
ADA compliant aspect to it too. It's something that we want to talk to you about for next year's budget to see if you want to do it a full redo of it. And a lot of that is because now you have that money that's not going to your enterprises. So you have $300,000 extra in your general fund that compared to what you, that can repair that place 3 times.
So here's a question. I know that we didn't budget that, but we can always do a supplement budget, right? To, for certain repairs. Would that be something we want to try to look at getting done this year so we can actually have,
The meetings where everybody can be? Yeah,
not that people are gonna show up, but we have to at least try to give them.
well, they can't hear. So,
Looks like-
that being said,
Have you guys been in the building recently?
I haven't been in it recently, but I was in it last year.
I think last year was probably the last time I was there too.
Do you guys want to do a quick site visit next meeting beforehand? We'd like go up there and look
Not
at it.
this weekend, but the following weekend?
The following meeting,
The fall.
Oh,
the April meeting, we meet there at 5:30 or 6,
Okay.
do a site visit, and then we can.
Oh, I won't
talk.
be here. But that's all right. I've seen it, so I've been in there.
I can Zoom call you.
Okay, that's.
yeah, I'm not on board with doing anything with that this year because of the way our budget is. I just am not comfortable with that.
But we do probably need to be thinking about getting it
Yeah.
where it is functional and stuff, which includes, let's get some costs of what it's really gonna cost us and that kind of thing too. But you're right, this is not the year probably for that
Your
either.
report does a pretty good job of breaking up the costs. You probably gotta add 15 or 20% to it because that report's 30 years old.
30.
But how it's broken out is pretty good. I'll set a site visit for the meeting next month. And we can just go up there real quick. and take a look at it, so you guys have an idea of what it's look like. Okay.
So that's gotta be like a put on the agenda, right? 'Cause there's-
It will, and we'll just do site visit 5:30, meeting at 6. Just let you guys meander around for a little while, come down here, because we set, and we go for it.
'Cause
Sounds good.
there's gonna be more than 2 of us there, so.
There is a question about, are we planning on dredging the lake? We do not know yet.
We're hoping we don't have to drain the lake, but it may come down to that to make the repair to the valve that's at the bottom of that thing.
And to update you guys where we're at on that, and we'll get off the agenda, but with the lake repair, our engineer has done some preliminary math. We've engaged an engineering firm out of Denver, and we sent preliminary stuff to the state, and the state bounced it back and said that won't do. We need a certain diameter of pipe, everything like that. So at least we got that figured out well beforehand, but we've actually been talking to the state dude.
Okay, good.
And Rick's been talking to him a lot. I've talked to him once, but it's, you know, we have the money. We want to get this done. Let's do it. So they know we're trying to get this thing going. And then to assuage anybody have any fears, we did get the report back. Your dam is in just fine shape. It's that opening valve that you're having problems with. You always have problems with. Other than that, the earthen part of your dam is very, very, very good shape. Very good shape.
Very good. Very good.
So hopefully no more quakes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's it for recreation.
And I have nothing for personnel. Staff reports, Mr. Guy.
We got the audit submitted, so we are starting to do our property tax disbursements. She has confirmed that with Wall County. Texas Tide barbecue request is something that we're going to cover kind of larger and separate issue. We did meet with the Wildlife Community Preparedness Day people. And we have set the date for Saturday the 4th, 2024. They're going to be taking care of a lot of stuff. I'm going to add all their vendors that we get named as additional insured. But we did set it up to where they're going to have food and events and some people handing out information. We'll have parking down at the bus stop parking. We'll have handicap accessible parking up here. It's going to take place in kind of in the soccer field area.
And that's May 4th, right?
It is, and then the vendors are gonna get here early, and we're gonna allow the vendors to park up here near the building so they can get their vehicles in and out. Invoice Cloud. I'm convinced that Invoice Cloud has violated their contract with us. So I have turned that over to the attorney to review. And we've talked to them a few times. We've been very clear about our displeasure. For us to separate with them right now, 18 months before the end of the contract, is $22,000. To which I believe I said something to the extent of please eat rocks and swim. Something like that. But anyway, Grassy Mountain Project, they spoke to us last fall. They've sent me an RFP that they're sending out. They wanted my review of it. There's nothing wrong with it. But we're going to meet with them before they start. And that is, we want to make sure that specifically our roads get taken care of. So that's one of the things we're looking at. And it's going to be kind of a larger project. They're thinking it's going to go to the fall of 2025. They want to get started this year. You saw the telecommunications tower. I put that in the report. I also emailed you about that. I met with Rural Community Assistance Corporation yesterday about the drinking water and wastewater rate study. They are going to take another look at the drinking water side. We feel that the wastewater side, what I presented you with that spreadsheet, is basically what they would do. But the water side's got more moving parts because you have a tiered system and so on and so forth. So they're going to relook at that with Tabor, understanding of Tabor, which they did not have last time. Okay. Any questions?
Sounds good, thank you.
And then Daryl's not here. He somehow, some way escaped and got a few days off. I don't know how that happened. I will not let it happen. You work until you have to replace
you. Administration, Shauna.
All right. So we researched 2023 transactions for Leslie and prep for the audit. We worked with IT and Visionary to figure out some phone issues we've been having here at the office. We created vendor files for the 1099 contract vendors. Barb and I attended a couple of Cassell training webinars this month, specific to the areas that we're working in. We uploaded the 2023 tax documents to Para. Daily payment processing, 2 payroll runs this month. Minutes were transcribed from the previous board meeting, meter reads and monthly billing, continued file retention. We renewed the reclamation bond that we're required to have because of the gravel mine. We received and set up a new receipt printer for the front desk. So every transaction that's made, we hand them a receipt right then. Instead of waiting until the end of the day to kind of enter all those payments, we decided, Guy and I, everybody should be handed a receipt. We have a trash can right there. If they don't want the receipt, we're just asking them to please dispose of it. But that way, if there's a mistake made, we find it right then in front of the resident versus at the end of the day, having to make phone calls, all of those sorts of things. So a receipt printer was necessary because it never failed. We needed to print a receipt when someone else is printing a book. So we just got a receipt printer. It's a thermal printer, no ink, super quick, easy.
Makes sense.
Yeah. We processed a new hire paperwork this month. We added a new driver to the insurance and removed old drivers. We had 2 check runs, account payable, account receivable, and I completed my last 2 classes of accounting 101. Woo!
District. But I think it also did a couple things, kind of helped you through the vocabulary and learning that stuff. And you made 60 new friends, so you got people to call, which is a lot of why you do that stuff. So,
Networking.
yep. Very happy.
And you can always reach out to Kathy Cathcart in Bayfield, and she can help you with, if you have questions as well.
Yes, sir.
I met her last week. Went down there and asked her.
Good job. Good job.
Water and wastewater, Mr. Fusion.
Alrighty, our treated drinking water and our wastewater streams that we treated stayed relatively similar to last month. Let's see here. We've been doing what I think is a pretty fair job of getting our meter reads under control. But this last time, our antenna failed, which required us to get within like 50 feet of every meter to actually get a read on it. Fortunately, Corey here lent us his antenna. Anyway, we took it to Digicom to get it fixed, and they couldn't guarantee that the sensitivity would be what it needed to be. You know, we don't want to mix up 850 meter reads, right? So we went ahead and bought it. We purchased a new one. It's just not here yet. Not really worried about it till probably another week time. In which case, if we have to, I'll ask Corey if I can borrow his.
You gotta borrow my MRX for 3 months at one point in time. Well, I think we can get it worked out.
So, we only had 1 meter to replace in February. We had a couple shut-offs and 2 return to services. So I'm not sure, the other people must just be out of town.
Or they turned it back on themselves.
Cleaned a few of our analyzers with acid, which is something you do on a regular basis. We're trying to get a better handle on what's happening with our process and the wastewater. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you that you should expect a violation for ammonia. So I'm going to explain something to you. We have limits, and temperature is what drives the bugs that turn ammonia into nitrogen. And the temperatures get down below, say, 48, 47, they stop working. They become cold like we would outside, right? And our limits, we have, we're totally making limits for our maximum daily and our maximum monthly limits. But for whatever reason, Forest Lakes has a permit that has a 2-year rolling annual average that is significantly lower. When I say significantly lower, I'll say, like for February, our maximum daily would be 22 parts per million. But the 2-year rolling annual average is like 6.1. All right, so what happens to us is we'll get that violation there because, for instance, our ammonia today at the effluent came out at about 31. All right, that's higher than February's maximum day, but it's within March's, which is where we're going to be sampling here soon. But anyway, that rolling annual average, I don't know why it is what it is, but that's what's getting us. And then even if we were to have our process working during this time of year next year, because we exceeded, or because I believe we're going to exceed a certain amount, mathematically we'll have another violation, even if everything was okay. So it's a really weird part of the permit. It's been there forever, I guess 2013. So anyway, I would expect that. I'm telling you so that you can know what's going on.
And that is only in sewer. That's not affecting anybody's drinking water. That's on sewer.
Yeah, I guess I should have made that clear.
I knew what you were talking about.
We've had some interesting things happen with the equipment on our wastewater system in the last 4 months, 3 months. We've lost 2 different check valves, butterfly valve. We've had 2 aero mixers fail that they're mixers that generate motions in our cells to keep everything mixed up and suspended, bugs talking, eating what they're supposed to be eating. So right now we have some aeration and the mixer parts are on order. We're hoping they're going to be here in the 8 weeks that they said that they would be, which is about 6 weeks from now. So, and they're in, with the idea that we're probably moving at some point to a mechanical plant, we chose to go and just replace what we have. As opposed to going with some newer technology stuff that's probably more efficient. Because the motors that we have are still turning for, 75,000 hours of runtime. They're still turning. So, okay, moving on, we fixed a few little things like the solenoid in the main lift station, which was relatively easy to fix. We sent Tim down there and made him start messing with stuff, and we figured out what the problem was. Let's see, Plaid Electric, almost every time we have a bump with them now, something happens to one of our systems somewhere. Whether it's the water booster stations, or in this case, we had stuff at the wastewater plant go down on us. So anymore, if we get a power bump, I know because I live here, I usually hear my beep, 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 and I'm like, so you have to go start looking to see what came back on and what didn't come back on. That's going to be an ongoing deal.
Is there anything that you can do that would prevent that, equipment or anything?
No, we have the same problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the bane of water and wastewater services.
You don't want to put so many items on a UPC and even then that not enough power to do what you need to do.
Yep. So our new hire, Jeff, he's pursuing a collection certification. Kind of a go-getter as far as getting certified, so he's trying to do it. We had one person at River Ranch that was without water very early in the month of February, and it ended up being she has a really long service line. I'd say it's about 95 feet, and it runs from the meter pit through her yard, and then they have a lot of ponds and stuff over there. It went right by one, so that was an interesting fix for whoever got to fix that.
But they had it back up and running. She was only without water for about a day and a half. I gotta hand it to her, man. She knew where her shut-off valve was and everything, so she climbed under, got into the crawl space, did some troubleshooting, and then we determined that, hey, it's on your side, and yeah, it was nice. It was
Nice.
a very capable woman.
So it wasn't on our side, it was
No.
on her side.
Yeah, our meter was just going, and there was no water anywhere near her.
Yeah.
She had no water 95 feet away. So, as you guys probably saw in here, we completed another round of PFAS sampling, with the grant that we got for this spring. It was a big one. It's something that is going to be probably brought up. You're gonna get like, each meeting, you're gonna get kind of an update probably on what's going on. We're awaiting the results of that, should be here soon. We're also pursuing, as much grant money as we can find to help pay, our district engineer and, to help pay for any kind of studies and data gathering that we can do to try to resolve any issue that we might have. Right now, we're still trying to figure out what our issue is. We need more data to come to a good conclusion on that. But currently, that's what we're doing, is a lot of sampling, and then we'll move into treatment process if that's where we need to go. So there's a couple things in the works. The PFAS limits are going to come down in about 2 years. About 2 years, then we'll be violating if we're not ready to deal with whatever's in our water. So, and it's tiny. I was trying to figure out what a part per trillion would be like, and I don't even think Vicito is big enough to have 1 trillion gallons. I don't know. It's a mind-blowing amount, a minuscule amount. I'm a water guy and I can't wrap my head around how big 1 trillion gallons is. But that's what they're testing. The only labs that will test for it right now are in California.
Wow.
None of the other labs are spooled up for it yet.
So to follow on that, we are having weekly meetings at the staff level with the engineer, preparation of the grants. We've had 2 pretty in-depth meetings with the state about the grants. So we've set out kind of a critical path with them of one grant is to pay for the testing so we can kind of get our hands around what this looks like. One is to kind of engineer a solution, and one is to actually help us go purchase the technology that we're going to need if we go that route. It's not guaranteed that we're going towards technology to solve this, but I will say these guys are way, way ahead of this, and the state has seen that we're way, way ahead of it too. And they're working with us. We have a grant due at the end of the month, and we have arranged with 3 of them. Okay, we have grants due at the end of the month. Thanks for blowing me out of the water. And so we are, we made arrangements with the state that we want to get those to them a few days early, just so they can kind of review it and give us a heads up if there's anything wrong. So we're cruising on addressing this issue, and we're way out in front of it, years in front of it.
Where we at with the lead and copper stuff?
I heard from them. They're not, all I really heard from them that they thought they were making good progress on our plan. I don't know exactly what that means.
And it's kind of in their court.
Yeah. When I applied for that grant, that was for them to do everything, since we have so few people around here to go look and dig up, meter pits and look at those things and try to figure out what's going on. Because it involves identifying the service line from the main to the meter pit, which is ours, which we have a pretty good handle on that. But from the meter pit to the home, we don't know if it's plastic, we don't know if it's copper, we don't know if it's galvanized, we don't know any of that. That's on private property. As a public water system, we've never had to try to manage private property before. Some places you would get shot doing something like that. So anyway, we tried to get the state offered assistance, applied for it, got it, and there's an engineering firm that's supposed to be laying a study on it for us, and that's where we're at with it. He said it was looking pretty good, but I don't know what that means.
Okay.
And again, they're not waiting on us, we're waiting on them.
Right, and we don't have the kind of meter pit that you can go out and look in and see what's coming out on the homeowner side. Ours is hooked into the bottom and we have a coil that you can lift up. So a lot of meter pits will have whatever comes in from the water side, the water company, and then whatever goes out to the homeowner side. This might be plastic, this might be copper. This might be plastic, and that might be plastic. We don't have that option because our meter pit is bottom. So to fund that, we have to dig every meter pit up for 134 houses, or talk to the homeowners, or do some sort of investigation, which, as you guys know, we don't have a ton of people. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't have better information than that, but that's just what I heard last week from the engineering firm.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. You want to put them, Gerald, or just it's in your package?
It's in your packet. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know and I'll make sure Daryl can respond.
No questions.
Number 9, new business. Resolution 2024-05.
As we discussed in the prior meeting, we're going into executive session to talk about this. The district right now is challenged in trying to provide funding for the extension of water sewer mains in the district. And that's for a couple of reasons that we've talked about. And you want us to kind of craft language in resolution to address that. That's what this resolution does. What this basically says is we don't have anything scheduled right now. We don't have anything budgeted. But my last paragraph here, it says, while this curtails extension of services, it does not forbid extension of services. It makes it clear the board of directors will consider other options, but for the time being, will not plan any extension or services due to limited resources. So what that means is if we get a group together on a section of road that says, we'll pay for it, we'll just pay for it on our dime, we're probably going to talk to them. We may bring something to you. But as far as this entity budgeting, at least through this year, and maybe next year, but that'll be a budget conversation. That's what this resolution addresses.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-05. The resolution of Forest Lakes Metropolitan Board of Directors declaring that due to restraints on the revenue and expenditures, the district will not provide funding for the extension of water or sewer main lines unless such funding has been formally approved by the Board of Directors.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 10, discussion item, use of district property by for-profit entities.
So this kind of came, as we've seen a lot of things in this meeting, Texas Thai Barbecue and the mulch people. I need to have a conversation with you guys about how or if you want to regulate this stuff. So I will use the food trucks as an example. If we give permission for somebody to be on our right of way to provide a service, there are some things we probably should do, right? So we should be named as additional insured. We should make sure that they probably have a food license from the county, stuff like that. But anybody using our facilities, there's some things that we should probably do to protect yourselves from liability. Okay. And I put in my memo, I am not trying to make this a big city. I'm not trying to make this onerous, but I'm trying to find that sweet spot in this conversation I'm going to have with you guys about where are we not owners, but where are we CYA. Okay. So for instance, with the food trucks, you know, do we assume, we have one person who's wanting to do it? Do we just say, okay, they can do it? Do we open it up and say, we're taking applications and then we're gonna pick two and this is the times you get to do it? How do you guys want to handle some of the stuff? And at the very least, I would think that, allow me to come up with an application for some of these things. That may be rather generic, but just kind of outlines what we're expecting. Like, I want to get your guys' feedback about this, because we're running into it more and more. And as the summer months come, you're gonna see a lot of it.
I think there should be some type of permitting process, like, hey, you know, I wanna come serve, set up at the bottom of the hill here and serve food. They have to come in, ask for a permit, and that's where we check out the boxes. Do you have the appropriate stuff you need to
Insurance.
have? You have insurance, you have us named as additional insured or whatever. And then we give them that permit saying, okay, yeah, or permission, you can be down there. And now, I don't know if we had associate a fee on top of the permit or not, but,
Those are two other issues. Go ahead.
and we do need to, you know, we can't just say, this guy can come in, but not crazy cool.
So in my memo, I talk about that. You have some equity issues as well, right? It goes back to a discussion we had a long time ago about the district picking winners and losers in businesses. Okay, and this all gets really kind of tied up in a knot, and I understand that. One thing about issuing a permit or a license, they are revocable on the spot if they are not adhered to. So for instance, we put in a license, you must take care of your own trash. And we find that they've been stuffing trash in a rows of beef, for example. We can yank that license right there. That is one really good thing about naming it a license or a permit, is it makes it revocable by definition. Okay. What do you think is going too far? Do you think, to piggyback on what you're saying, should we charge a processing fee for the application? Should we ask for some sort of security that we return at the end of the period that we've licensed them for? Do you think we need to go that far? Or would you rather start with just a licensing part? Or?
I don't think we need to have like some type of security deposit, by all means, but I do think that our time checking the boxes and make sure everything is kosher with the county should be charged, you know?
Yeah, and it should be attached to the permit. We need a copy of all of that.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to have an annual permit fee so they can sign up rather than like lottery? You know, if Joe Blow comes in and signs up before Susie Q, then, you know, they get the spot. You know, like,
Sorry to interrupt, why can't we have more than one food truck I heard at a time?
well, that was just an example.
Well, in location sometimes, like where do you
Right.
get to be in this food chain thing or whatever. it may
Because
be.
I want to allow 10 of them and then.
No, I mean, there's gotta be some reason,
So-
so, but there's more than enough space to have two set up,
Sure.
just not during, you know, school drop off and pick up, by no means.
In my mind, I was thinking like $100 for an annual fee, because, you know, if they came every week, that's peanuts, really.
I don't think we charge that much for a business license.
I
No,
don't know, how much do we charge when they were renting access for the recreation center? Do you have any idea? I don't know.
I do not know, because y'all weren't doing that when I got here.
that was minimal. When she did yoga, it was like $25, but you had to have insurance.
But you had to have insurance and a lot of insurance.
And I would separate out, like, as allowing licensing somebody to put a food truck down here versus we okay somebody to use the rec center. Then I think you do a deposit. You do a preliminary check through and a post check through, just like you'd be renting a recreation space.
So like with this parking lot thing, they're not going to leave it there all week.
That'd be part of the license. So let's say somebody comes to us and say, we want to be there 5 days a week from 9 AM to 5 PM selling chicken wings. So that's a question that I have. So we can condition a license to basically say anything. My concern is we're gonna have somebody come and say, well, how can we let them do it? You didn't let us do it. We didn't know anything about it. We didn't, you picking winners and losers. They were a friend, whatever it might be. That's less of a concern, frankly, than your legal liability. But it's also something that I think you would want to look at if we're wanting people to come and, because, having food trucks here and everything, I think is great, right? But we just kind of want some order to the chaos.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of feeling that you guys are kind of okay with doing some level of licensing review, whatever you want to call
I am.
And I think that would go for either a for-profit or a nonprofit. So again, let's say it's a nonprofit truck that wants to sell chicken wings. And they just do it out of they take all their money and they give it to the homeless or whatever they do, but they're a nonprofit. I think they still fall into the exact same parameters that a for-profit would. So that doesn't change on our end. We're kind of equal on all that.
I do like the administrative.
That's what I'm doing.
I do like the administrative fee. I think we do need to do something like that. I don't know what it would be, if it's not $100 a year or whatever license fees are, I
I
don't
don't know
know.
it off the top of my head, but I don't think it's $100.
Yeah.
We make it something concerned.
Yeah.
Staff would.
Yeah.
So we can't charge somebody.
Now, they wouldn't build any structures or anything on our property. This is just their units.
No, it would be a food cart. Or
They
food
can
truck.
come and go on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
if you have a permanent structure, no permanent location. That's something we would not allow a license for. But if it's somebody who says we want to do a food truck, then we would have a licensing. And I can see the three things immediately would be the state license, you're with the Secretary of State. That you are a business in the state of Colorado in good standing. If you're a food truck, you have your La Plata County Food Services license. I'm not even sure what that's called, but something. And then your proof of insurance and naming us as an additional insured on that insurance.
So
And
if
other
you
than
did,
that, and I did talk to our insurance company, and they're all about that. I think it's
if you did do this, you need to think about what kind of review. Do you have to have it reviewed every 6 months? Because they could lose their license for some reason,
well, I would do a term. So any license that we issue,
every quarter or something.
it would say you're good through the end of summer. You are good year round. You are whatever that might be that they're looking for. Do you want it administratively approved, or do you guys want to approve it?
I don't think that needs to come to the board for full
Yeah.
vote.
I
think
think
Sean's
the
good.
administration,
Thanks.
I think
can probably
Yeah.
stay on top of that, probably more so than the board can.
We would delay it too.
I mean, keep the board apprised about what's going on, of course, but as far as managing it and stuff like that, administration is top notch.
One thing too about, we had a truck here and I don't remember who it was, a couple of years ago. But they were parked right next to the dry, dead tree and their smokestack was right under it. So we need to make sure that whatever equipment they have meets, spark arrestor or whatever it's called, to make sure that they don't.
I would say no point the exhaust of your generator at the house.
Or we just find somebody we really don't like. That's.
Well, that's
Now,
part of
food
finding
truck.
the
There
appropriate
was an
fee.
issue, you bring up a good point, there was an issue with the generators being operated at certain times and residents were complaining about the noise.
Well, that's why in the license you put a time frame to it. You don't need them out here at 8 o'clock at night running a generator. Most places have a noise ordinance, ours is 7 to 7. And whatever, if we want to go down that route, 8 to 6 or 8 to 5.
We put, there's gonna be conditioning factors in any license. And that's exactly what we're looking at. So we have a generator. Okay, we got noise issues. We got, where do you want to be? What's your exhaust look like? What's your, how many vehicles are you gonna have to park outside of your truck? Those types of things we're gonna have to get a handle on so that we can condition a permit too. Okay, then I'm gonna take this as direction to start crafting some sort of permit and regime, and I'll bring it back for you guys for round two thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Thank you, God.
Thank you. And then I will turn you guys into the biggest and nastiest city. Make New York
Just-
jealous of you guys.
Make the residents happy.
Oh,
Anything else on that?
thank you guys.
Approval of disbursements.
I'd like to make a motion for check register February 1st through February 29th in the amount of, 93,242.83 for approval.
Second. A second. All in favor? Aye. Distracted by the comment up there. Anything else? Anybody forget anything?
I know.
All y'all
Picking
stay
up.
there.
I haven't cooked it, but. Yeah, that's a good idea, Bonnie. And 501. Okay, anything else from the board? Then I would like to adjourn this meeting. It is now 6:56.
Thank you guys.
Hey, Sean. Would it be okay to have all the pages numbered